Hello everybody, Hexblockheroes here. Today I'm going to be telling you my top 10 favourite Battlebots, but first of all, to begin with, let me tell you how I got into Robot Combat and Battlebots to start off with. So, in the UK, I grew up watching Robot Wars, which is the English equivalent of Battlebots, and it was a great show, absolutely excellent show, my favourite show, probably one of my favourite shows of all time, and obviously when the Robot Wars reboot came about, I absolutely love that as well. I had heard of Battlebots, didn't really pay much attention to it. I just thought it was just like trying to copy Robot Wars because I was a bit brainwashed by the Robot Wars community. So the odd few episodes of Battlebots found their way onto a channel called Spike from season 2, and I liked it. I watched them and I liked it, and it wasn't a bad show. It was just I liked Robot Wars more, and I don't remember watching the first season of the reboot at all. So the way that I found my love for Battlebots is after watching Mr. Psycho's live reviews of Robot Wars, and then he announced that Battlebots is coming back on Discovery for a third reboot season, and I thought, that sounds interesting, let me check it out. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. The 2018 season is probably still my favourite series of Robot Combat of all time. It was incredible. I absolutely loved it. I couldn't believe it. And so for that reason, I'm in love with Battlebots now. It's my favourite show of all time. I absolutely love it. And because of that, I have some favourite Battlebots from the modern era. So let's go through them. Let's get straight into this video. At number 10 we have SubZero, specifically the Season 4 version. Now of course here are all the additions of SubZero. You might not recognise the top left one because that was a 2009 edition. Now we can see the SubZero's design is kind of blended and gone back to its original, which I think is quite fun. I really like all the versions of SubZero though, really. Mostly because it was one of the first flippers that I saw in Battlebots. I saw it fight Ice Wave and it didn't do too well, but it looked pretty awesome there. It was quite an old school looking bot because it didn't have a paint job, it was just metal. It was just pure metal. And I specifically liked it in Season 4 just because of just how it looked. It was just so nice. And of course that fight with P1 where it got out of the arena was absolutely amazing. It was so satisfying to watch. I just love the way SubZero flips. It's just a really nice spot to watch. Of course it does suffer with reliability issues from time to time, although for 2021 under its new, or 2020 under its new ownership, I think that it shall continue to do decently well, and maybe even a little bit better. At number 9 we have Reality, and Reality is an awesome drum spinner from the Netherlands. I absolutely love it. It's a great looking robot. At first I wasn't a huge fan of it, I just thought it was another drum spinner, but then I found out that the motor for the weapon is inside the weapon, which is fantastic. It's so innovative and I love it. It's such a good looking robot as well. I mean, the patterns are just amazing and I love it, and it's a great robot. And this has got to be my favourite image probably from Robot Combat. It's just amazing. I love it. Even if it's getting eaten by Swordblaze, it's still looking fantastic. And of course they beat Lucky, which I'm a bit salty about, but still, it's fantastic and I love it. At number 8 we have Copperhead from Team Caustic Creations and also Robert Cowan. And of course Copperhead is another fantastic looking egg beater spinner. That fight with Gruff produced some amazing photos, and it was a really close, tense fight, just really entertaining. Whenever I'm introducing someone new to Battlebots, I show them Copperhead versus Gruff first, because it involves everything to do with Robot Combat and I love it. And then of course its fight with Chronos was iconic. It recreated that Poison Arrow versus Son of Waiachi hit, and of course since Poison Arrow is its predecessor, this fit really well, and I absolutely loved it, and it was a fantastic hit. Of course they did have a few reliability issues because it's a new robot against Scorpios, but they sorted these out pretty quickly and came back and had an amazing victory against Warhawk. Then they got battered by Son of Waiachi. At number 7 we have Sidewinder, and Sidewinder is a new kind of machine. Very innovative, very weird design, because it has its weapon on the side, and for this reason I didn't like it, because it wasn't symmetrical. For some reason we only got 2 fights out of Sidewinder. The first one, it kicked P1's ass. Honestly, it was fantastic to watch it just tearing P1 up, and of course it proved how powerful it is. It started digging holes in the floor, which is how you know it's powerful, because normally it's robots like Tombstone and Monsoon that rip holes in the floor, and then Sidewinder came and did that and I was stunned. Of course, they put up a great fight against P1 and thus won. It's just a really entertaining robot to watch. Even when it got ripped off by Scorpios, it kept on going until its link came out and was ripped apart by Scorpios. So when your robot leaves an event looking like that, it's a bit hard to repair, so I can understand why they didn't come back for the next fight, because they got a bad batch of titanium and it got ripped apart really easily. So hopefully they can come back for the next season. At number 6 we have Chronos, and Chronos is a fantastic looking ring spinner. Again, in its first fight I didn't really pay attention to it. It was just a classic fight with Gigabyte where it got knocked around the arena, had some reliability issues of course, it then died. Then I saw its tag team match against Monsoon and Ragnarok, and of course it was partnered with Mad Catter. Although its ring did split in this fight, it dealt out some amazing hits to Monsoon. I think it actually immobilized Ragnarok as well. And I was very impressed with it that it kept on going despite taking huge hits from Monsoon. Later I discovered out why the ring broke apart so easily. It was because of that iconic hit with Copperhead where it got flung across the arena, survived the hit even though its weapon was broken, and continued to move, and of course Copperhead couldn't move properly, and thus Chronos won the fight in spectacular fashion, and that hit has got to be one of my favourite hits ever. At number 5 we have Cobalt, and Cobalt is a vertical spinner from the same team that made Carbide that won Robot Wars, and Tungsten that has success in China as well. So Cobalt was just so powerful. Honest to God, I wasn't sure what to expect from it because I'd never seen it before, and it was fantastic. We're talking about Season 4 Cobalt here. I didn't really pay attention to the one in Season 2, and yeah, it was just amazing to watch. It tore Duck up before getting stuck on the floor, tore Minotaur up before losing the judge's decision because it lost its Wedgelet. Basically ended SubZero's season in its very first fight because it tore it up so badly. The only issue with Cobalt is that when its Wedgelet went, it basically had no offense because the weapon wouldn't reach its opponent, which is a bit of a massive design flaw, but hopefully they sort this out for the next season, and I'm very excited to see it. At number 4, repping Great Britain again, we have Quantum. Just take a minute and look at this photo. Just look at that photo. How is that not the best combat robot you have ever seen? It looks spectacular. I still haven't got over it yet. Of course, Quantum. It's not very often that you see successful crushers in the modern era of robot combat, but Quantum was like, nah, we're going to do this properly. We're going to make a robot that was just like Razor in terms of power in relation to its opponents. And so it started tearing holes in things. It made it to the top 16, which surpassed everybody's expectations, even though it's won competitions in China. So, of course, Quantum, they did have 2 losses. They had an amazing win against Duck, which was fantastic to watch. They set things on fire. They got mullered by Deathroll, unfortunately, and Tombstone and Lockjaw, but it was still an amazing bot to watch. It was beautiful, it was fantastic, it was everything, and I absolutely love it. Now, for some honourable mentions, we have Extinguisher, a really nice axe bot. Hopefully they can do better in the future. Same as Rainbow. I really love the team and the videos that they posted from behind the scenes. It was just absolutely fantastic to watch, and it was great to see a very different sort of robot. It was entirely made out of plastic though. And of course Nightmare, and Nightmare used to be my favourite Battlebot, but because it hasn't been in the competition, there's been many robots that have sort of outranked it in my favourites, which is why unfortunately it wasn't included on this list, but I thought that at least it deserved a shout out. What an iconic bot. At number 3 we have Petunia, and Petunia is one of my favourite robots of all time. Another crusher here. It existed before Quantum was in Battlebots, so it was the biggest hydraulic cylinder ever at the time, built into a combat robot. It absolutely crushed things, it controlled things. It was just like a reminder of how, if you do crush as well, then they can be really effective. And of course the team are really fun as well. They have their own YouTube account, which I will link in the description. Go and check them out. And Petunia was just an amazing crusher bot, an amazing control bot. It was just amazing to watch, and it's a really cool looking bot as well. They had a few reliability issues which they can hopefully fix for next season if it goes ahead. On number 2 we have Foxtrot, and Foxtrot is another beautiful machine. Foxes are my favourite animal, and Craig Danby made the robot a fox. and I love it. It's fantastic. One of my favourite robots of all time, just because of how well it looks. Had a bit of a disappointing run in the competition after it got fed to death roll, basically. Had a lot of reliability issues. Hopefully, if it ever comes back to Battlebots, then it will have those sorted out. It's a decent little robot. We saw that in its fights with Double Jeopardy and Daisy Cutter. It's just a fantastic looking bot. It's just so clean, it's just so nice. And I know everyone's going to be like, oh, but it's rubbish, oh, it's unreliable. It's not. It just looks fantastic. Not every robot is perfect. Okay? Get over it. Unfortunately, it was fed to death roll though, which is sad. At number 1, we have Lucky, and Lucky is my favourite combat robot of all time. It is just fantastic. I love it. It's so painful being a Lucky fan, when the most viewed robot combat video of all time is your favourite robot getting beaten up by Beta, basically. It's a bit sad, but of course 39 million people, that's a lot, and a lot of those would be new to Battlebots, and their first image of Battlebots would be Lucky and Beta just battling it out, and I really love that. Of course it spends most of its time, again, getting its ass kicked, but when it works, it is fantastic to watch. And of course it had a great run last season in the Desperado tournament, where it beat Gigabyte and Gemini on its way to the finals, and it was one step away from reaching the top 16. So close yet so far. They lost to Lockjaw, which was unfortunate. And Lucky, it just has a great personality. I love seeing it, no matter how frustrating it is and how much I want to kick it because it doesn't drive in a straight line. But of course it is my favourite Battlebot of all time, and I absolutely love it. So, if you made it this far in the video, I'm very grateful. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please drop a like and leave a comment. I'd love to know what you guys think. And of course, I'd love it if you considered subscribing to the channel. And all of the effort that goes into these videos would be worth it. So thank you all very much for watching, and bye bye.